Hey, there we go.
I'll be honest.
Two
When I got up this morning, I didn't remember we had audio shop today until my partner mentioned it. I'm like, oh, you're right. We are doing it.
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Hey, we're starting the year off strong.
But yeah.
No, this one's the actual first review of the year too.
Yeah.
Ooh.
See if we can keep it up.
Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm actually going to be busy for every Sunday for the next 18 weeks.
Oh, okay.
So, so I'm getting my hair cut every Sunday.
Every Sunday you're getting your hair. Wait, you don't have hair.
Huh? Or does he? No, I'm bald. I didn't tell you this, Sam, but I got a very rare experimental hair transplant.
Mm-hmm.
It it did not work out.
Oh, I'm sorry. What happened?
Well, I was hoping to get a full head of, luscious locks, much like yours.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the hair that elephants have that are like super Barbie, like barbed wire, like super coarse.
Oh yeah. It's like really thick, like a single follicle is like you can see it.
Yeah, so I've got five of those sticking out of my head. It's like a
Hmm.
Charlie Brown cartoon.
That's not ideal.
No, it's not.
This would be hard to pluck.
Oh, jeez. Not even shave. Pluck them. Ugh.
I'd be worried about.
Each one's about as thick as my finger.
I'd be worried about some of your brain coming out with that.
Yeah, I think that just pulled out my skull.
Would it make
No,
like
but
a slurp noise when it comes out of your head?
I think it's more like a pop.
Mm. Just one quick.
Just boop, and then immediately a new one would grow in its place. It's very permanent.
When you say immediately, like how quickly are we talking?
It's like a Pez dispenser, just get the next
That
level up.
that's disturbing.
So if you're in the market for some hair,
That first day you do it, you're just pulling and pulling, and then 20 minutes later, you're like, man, I'm really hungry.
each one's like 20 calories being removed from my body. But very convenient for weight loss.
Besides all the calcium it uses, my bones
Oh
feel
yeah,
very thin.
I actually bumped into the door the other day and I shattered myself. Speaking of weak bones, you want to get into this this week's album?
Well, that's fitting in more ways than one. Welcome back, everyone, to the Audio Shop podcast. This week we are discussing the brand new album from everyone's favorite Beatle, Ringo Starr, called Look Up, which is his foray into country music, as many people who shouldn't be singing country have decided to do the past year.
Now, country's a popular genre, and it hits numbers. It hits numbers.
Which is a shame because new country sucks.
I mean, there's some decent country singers that have come out this last decade,
Cooper, Garth Brooks
but typically not
is
the.
famous. There's no reason that should be your thing.
But typically, yeah, pop country I think has a pretty bad rep, and for good reason.
So, yeah. Now, Johnny Cash. I'm not just now. You should know. I've said it multiple times. I'm not disparaging all country. I'm disparaging new country, old country. Johnny Cash, Dolly Parton, fantastic, love them. But the new stuff.
Yeah, but we're reviewing a country album by none other than our own Sir Richard Starkey,
Mm-hmm.
um, aka Ringo Starr. Which yeah, I mean this is do I really have to explain Ringo Starr's
Yeah.
background? I guess I
Who is
do.
Ringo Starr, Cooper?
Well, Ringo Starr, again, Sir Richard Starkey, is an English musician and was the drummer in a group called the Beatles.
Famously, not even
Um,
the best drummer in the Beatles.
and I think his drumming's pretty good.
Oh yeah, no, he's
Maybe
he
not
was in the damn
flashy,
Beatles. He's good.
but certainly most people would call him the cream of the crop of the Beatles. Um, he makes top four. It was in
Well,
top five.
there was the fifth Beatle.
Yeah, that was Pete Best. Well, of course he usually got a song or so on each album.
Mhm.
Yellow
Well,
Submarine,
he has some of the most famous
Optimistic
ones.
Garden.
Yellow Submarine, I would say, is up there and maybe like the top 5 most famous Beatles songs.
Oh yeah, Octopus's Garden's great with a little help from my friends. So
That one's a great one.
he wasn't prevalent on the songwriting side, but the songs they did get in were catchy and fun.
I mean, he batting pretty high there.
And of course, he's been knighted. He's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's the original drummer of all time for good reason. And he has had a prolific solo career.
Surprisingly.
This album's actually his 21st studio album.
He's done that many. Holy shit! I didn't realize he'd been that.
Which, to be fair, it sounds like a lot, but he's also, he was born in 1940, so he's 84 years old.
Yeah, so even if he does one every 5 years.
Yeah, and the Beatles ended in 1970, which was 55 years ago.
Okay.
So, that's like an album every 3 years, which is actually pretty, standard.
Yeah.
Well,
that's if you don't take King Gizzard into consideration.
they certainly. But this is actually his first album since What's My Name in 2019. Not his last piece of music. Obviously, we reviewed Rewind Forward last year, but that was an EP. But this is his first full, honest-to-goodness album in about 5 years.
Now, I realized Rewind Forward was an EP, but it wasn't much shorter than this one. Because this was only like 37 minutes, right?
Yeah, this one's, even a little short on the album side. And Rewind Forward, I think, was like 15 or so minutes.
Oh, you're right. It was 15 minutes.
Which, it is
pretty sure
EP
that is
length.
EP. Yeah, you're right.
It was actually just, I was just listening to an EP, super big air quotes, the other day. That was almost an hour and a half long.
Okay, that's an album.
which it was labeled as an EP. But I think the line's pretty blurred between the two.
Especially in
I think typically if it's longer than 30 minutes, you should consider an album.
Yeah.
Shorter EP. Roughly. But yeah, it's first full-length album. And it's a country music album. New territory for Ringo. And features quite a few guest appearances from country and bluegrass people, including Billy Strings, Molly Tuttle, Lucius, and Larkin Poe.
I'll be honest, I had never heard of any of those people.
I'm not familiar with most of them. I was reading up on them, and they've actually pretty. A lot of them are I'll say younger artists.
I believe it.
But they've actually got pretty I'd say accolades with them. A lot of them have Grammys or kind of what's the word, like awards and considerations for bluegrass specifically. Like Tuttle was the first woman to win the International Bluegrass Music Association's Guitar Player of the Year award. Billy Strings has a Grammy for Best Bluegrass Album. Just looking up Lucius, and they've got like a prolific like pop background. And Larkin Poe I've actually seen live. Fun fact.
I'll also be honest, when I read Larkin Poe, my brain said Linkin Park.
It's not Linkin Park, it's Larkin Poe.
I just saw it out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, why the hell's Linkin Park on this album?
So I'm not sure if they've had many awards. Actually, they won the Grammy 2024 for Best Contemporary Blues Album.
Wow. Okay, well.
I can say that.
I don't listen to a whole lot of blues, but some of the best, it sounds like.
And I actually hadn't really listened to them until I saw them live. Fantastic performers. They're actually a pair of sisters that perform together. They are very good musicians. So honestly, very, obviously Ringo's got the industry pull, so he pulled in some talent into his album. It wasn't Ringo putting his his daughter or son to give them a couple credits on an album. So with all that background out of the way, let's jump into it, Sam, with the first song, if you're ready.
I am.
Breathless, featuring Billy Strings.
So, coming into this, obviously, I had Rewind Forward fresh in my mind. It was only 15 minutes, but damn did it leave an impression. Really, really bad.
We both ranked it as second and first worst album
Yes.
that we listened to last year.
The auto tune was horrendous. So going to this,
Yes.
my expectations were bottom of the barrel. We come in, it's heavy on the acoustic guitar, which I quite liked, and then we got some rock drums, which is probably Ringo. And I feel like it was kind of nice. It helped bridge. It's like it's not standard, but that's kind of cool. He's merging styles. And honestly, on this first track anyway, the auto tuning was not that bad. I mean, it's still there, but it's much better done.
Yeah, I noted that as well. It's definitely still filtered, right?
Yeah.
This is not just pure Ringo singing.
No.
There's some studio tampering going on. But yeah, I don't think it's quite as blatant as this last EP. I mean, let's be honest, Ringo singing is never been his strong suit.
No.
And certainly he's old enough that he doesn't have the strength of a vocal performance as much anyways. Even in his younger days, he wasn't the strongest. But I think it sounds a little better on this album.
Yeah, well, it comes and goes. This one, though, there was only a little bit of that electronic warble that you could hear, but it's fairly well done. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's also it doesn't help that the vocal performance I felt was a little bland. I mean, they stacked the vocals to give it a bit of life, but other than that, he's pretty monotone even with the auto tune.
Yeah, and it's not a great vocal performance. It's unfortunate because there's a lot of it in this album.
Yes, and it doesn't change. And the other thing that got to me was it doesn't evolve. Where it starts is where it ends. And I think I'm going to be harsh because Ringo was a fucking Beatle. He should know better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I give maybe slight leeway in the fact that this is a new genre for him.
Fair.
And I appreciate that he didn't just, he's made 21 albums, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he's always changing it, but I appreciate that he's at least trying something different for his sound, especially so late into his career.
Yeah. But, I mean, even if it is a new genre, adding a couple more instruments as the song progresses, maybe a key change, I feel like that's not that crazy of an ask, Honestly, just halfway through throwing some strings, with just something, anything. A different sounding guitar, but the fact that it's just where it starts is where it ends is just like, come on.
Yeah, he doesn't reinvent the song structure here, right?
No.
New genre doesn't get experimental with it. I mean, each song's almost 3 to 4 minutes long. Exactly. So it keeps it pretty tight within those time frames. But how about we step on to the next track, Sam, if you're ready? Yeah, track number 2, Look Up. The title track, featuring Molly Tuttle, who provides backing vocals.
And I spoke too soon about the lack of poor auto-tune. This one was pretty bad with the auto-tune.
Yeah, this one was worse than the first song.
In this one, I think that his singing would be better. There's no way he's that tone deaf. But then again, he is 83 or 84, whichever. So who knows?
Yeah. And maybe it's more auto-tuned because it's being paired with Tuttle's singing, and obviously she's much younger and has a much better voice. So that might be a case of trying to make it a little more similar. But yeah, it's her singing doesn't really say Ringo singing.
Mm-hmm.
and beyond that, the instrumentation's a pretty, generic kind of country rock backing.
Yeah. It it just kind of goes along. There was I thought something interesting was going to happen around the 220 mark. There was a stop, but then after like a second or two, it just goes right back to where it was before the break. It's like what was that? And then there was 10 seconds of silence on a 3-minute song.
Yeah, it had like a almost an interesting switch up at like like you said, the 2 minute mark, but it doesn't really
It didn't do
have a huge
anything.
payoff on it.
Yeah, they bring one instrument in, and then half a second later the rest come in, and it's right back to where it was. It's like, okay, what was the point of that stop then?
Oh, ask Ringo.
Maybe
But
he'll come. Maybe he'll come on the show.
you think if he asked?
Maybe if we asked really nicely.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't be allowed to completely shit on him then.
Yeah, no. Do you think he'd listen to anything before coming on, or he'd just come on after we lambast this album?
I don't think he knows what a podcast is.
That's fair. But jump to track 3 if you're ready, Coop.
Yes, track number 3, Time on My Hands, which brings it down a little bit more of a mellow cowboy song.
Yeah.
About losing love.
Got some slide guitar in this one. Is it called steel guitar? When you slide you got that tube that you slide along the. I'll be honest. Bluegrass and blues is not my wheelhouse.
It's not mine either. I think it can be referred to that, but
because what's the difference between a slide guitar and a steel guitar?
Ask Ringo. Well, he might not know either.
He wouldn't know. He's new too. I would say the rock drums on this one actually are taking quite a bit away. I felt there should have been more focus on the guitars. Just have, if anything, a very, very soft drum kit backing, but the drums are going a little too hard.
That's fair. I kind of like the instrumentation a little bit better on this one. A little slower pace, but a little more full. And introduces some violins at the end of the song as well, which was quite nice, actually.
Yeah. It had the quietest solo in one ear at the 140 mark, and then repeats it again at the 310 mark.
Yeah, like I said, it's a little more mellow, but, let's the instrumentation breathe a little bit more on the song, which I like.
Mm-hmm. The instrumentals are good, but the vocals really don't add much to this one.
Yeah, I mean, that's that's not going to be changing anytime soon.
No, sadly.
So we'll move on to track number 4 then. You ready?
Yes.
Never Let Me Go, featuring, again, Billy Strings. Which has a little bit more, some harmonica in the background, actually.
Ironically, Billy Strings plays the trumpet.
Wait a second.
But this one, the melodic line on the vocals was really not good. Something about that chord progression on Ringo's vocals there for like the start of the chorus just really rubbed me the wrong way.
It's not the most complex chorus.
No.
For sure. But the harmonica does add quite a bit. And I gotta give him credit. Right? When I was first listening to this album, I wasn't sure, like, hey, is he gonna actually stick to the cowboy thing? But
yeah,
this is a genre piece. He sticks to the script here.
Got a harmonica solo around the 140 mark, which is quite fun.
Yeah, and I mean, as the song goes on, it does have like a little bit more percussion, but yeah, this is not an album with a lot of progression throughout each song.
Yeah, it also seems like the songs consist of a lot of repeating the title of the song over and over again.
Yeah, it definitely it definitely doesn't have a lyrical depth.
No.
And I mean, I don't think Ringo's ever been lauded for his, insights into humanity and the human condition.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like writing about the ocean, but
yeah, He really likes writing about the ocean. The lyricism could use quite a bit of work.
But we'll continue on then to track number 5 here, if you're ready.
Of course, of course.
I Live for Your Love, featuring Molly again. Which is another kind of mild love ballad, or love country song.
Yeah, this one was quite a snoozer, I thought.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I'm on my hands was also kind of a mellow song, but the interpretation was a little more full and exciting, and this one's very mild backing instrumentation.
Mild and just nothing happening lyrically.
Really let you focus on Ringo's vocals.
Yeah. And again, there's the 10 to 15 seconds of silence at the end of the track, every track. I'm like, do you need to pad the runtime that much?
I mean, the album's already kind of on the short side, so.
You really needed that extra, minute and a half from adding 10 seconds to every song?
He has to make it so it fits both sides of the vinyl. Yeah, honestly, I don't have too much to say about this one. It's like you said, it's a bit of a snooze fest.
Yeah, I didn't either. I was just kind of like, really, okay. There's not really anything to talk about here. It just kind of is. But jumping to track 6, if you're ready.
Yes, track number 6, "Come Back," featuring Lucius. His first and only feature on this album, actually.
Which I think is a shame because this one is actually interesting. We've got some new things. We got some whistling intro and then a humming backing to it.
Which has this really nice kind of like campfire vibe to it, right?
And the instrumental and backing vocals on this one are quite good.
Yeah, and I think one of the greatest criticisms I can kind of loud against Ringo's, we'll call it later music, or at least the stuff that we reviewed on the podcast, is that it feels kind of, through the motions, right? Like each song doesn't particularly strike me as having any, even if it's not, a great song, you can have a song that has a lot of heart to it, or like, something that is like, okay, they cared about this particular aspect, or maybe there's some sort of like thought or heart put into it. And a lot of Ringo's later stuff feels a lot more just like a guy kind of having fun, jamming out, but not really a lot of thought going to the song. Where I say this song has a little bit of emotion in it, right? A little more character, a little more thought. Even Ringo's vocals feel like a little bit more involved here.
Yeah, and the autotune I feel like picks up quite a bit in this one as well. And we get a fun little solo. And was this a single? I didn't check.
I don't know if this album had singles. But yeah, no, I mean the backing vocals, the whistling, and like I said, with a little less of the autotune on it, obviously Ringo's voice shows its age a little bit more, but honestly, if any genre works with showing a little bit more gruffness, I think country, right, pays off. So it works out there.
Yeah, I thought this was it. It's a shame that Lucius was the only one on this. This was the only song that they were on because I felt like definitely the best foot forward.
Yeah, it did have singles. The 3 singles were "Time on My Hands," "Thankful," which we haven't reviewed of yet, and "Look Up."
Interesting. Okay, this definitely should have been.
Yeah, I quite like this one actually.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a dusty old saloon vibe.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly right. Jumping to track 7, if you're ready, Coop.
Yes, track number 7, "Can You Hear Me Call?" Again, featuring Molly Tuttle. A little bit more yeehaw energy, right? With some banjo on this one.
Yeah, I like the darker tone this one takes as well. It's kind of gets a little. We were talking about the gruffness before it, but this one is a little lower register. But Ringo is still singing quite cheerfully, which doesn't quite fit.
Yeah, this one, the vocals are definitely the weakest part. I mean, Molly and Ringo kind of have like a duet back and forth thing going on.
Yeah.
Whereas before she was kind of more of a backing vocalist. And again, she's a good singer. It just when you slap her right up against Ringo, it's
yeah.
not they're not better than the sum of their parts.
Right. Yeah. It's I mean, she does do our first vocal country twang at the 2:10 mark. So this song's got that going for it.
And the instrumentation's pretty nice. It's a nice, relaxing little love song.
Mm-hmm. And the end is pretty bad. Just the vocal line gives up and the instruments get confused, and then it just goes to silence for 10 seconds again.
But you can always play it off as like kind of just a natural ending of like people playing music. But yeah, it's a little flaccid.
Yeah, it was. It sounded like they got confused at the end.
It's called organic.
Whatever you say. Jumping to track 8.
Yes, track number 8, Rosetta, featuring again Billy Strings and Larkin Poe.
I'm going to copy and paste this one because I don't want to type all that. This was where I thought it was Linkin Park.
Yeah, man, Linkin Park Ringo collab in the year 2025.
I thought it was weird.
I mean, it would not sound good, but I'd definitely listen to it day one. No, yeah, I think Larkin Poe brings a very nice kind of bassiness to this song. Certainly a little bit groovier than some of the other cuts on this album.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know. I tuned more into the vocals on this one, and it just saying the title over and over and over again.
Yeah, okay, vocals weren't the greatest on this one, but I think the instrumentation backing with guitars, and especially Larkin Poe's solo at like 130, quite nice.
Yeah, it was for me. It was just kind of more of the same.
I think you're sleeping a little bit on the guitar work on this song.
I probably am.
I mean,
I was very focused on the vocals, unfortunately.
Oh, that was your first mistake.
I know.
Blur those out. Pretend those aren't there.
That's hard to do.
It really is kind of like, trying to have a conversation with someone while someone like right next to you is also having a slightly louder conversation.
Yeah, that's a very accurate description. Because normally I'm quite good at tuning into the instrumental, but for some reason Ringo's voice just draws me in. It's like a vampire.
All right, we'll go to track number 9 then, if you're ready.
Yeah.
You Want Some. That's the name of the song.
Yep.
And this one's got a little bit of a clip-cloppy percussion beat to it.
Yeah, I likened it to a country song had a baby with one of Paul's granny songs.
I think I don't think it's too controversial to say that I prefer Paul's granny songs to Ringo's general songs.
I will say, though, it was very brave of Ringo to release the song he sings every time he wants to bang his wife.
I don't like picturing that at all. I'm actually going to just breeze right past that comment. The idea of Ringo having sex makes me upset for some reason.
It's like imagining Goofy having sex,
Oh, jeez.
And he has quite some confidence in this song, but I do not think the whole world wants to fuck Ringo.
He was a Beatle.
This is another one where I was looking at the lyrics and listening, and I'm like, man, this is just you want some? I want it, you want it, everybody wants it.
Look, he's in his 80s, right? He doesn't have time to be coy.
That's a good point. Listen, I don't know how long I got left. I can't beat around the bush here.
So yeah, he fun fact, did you know that he's married to a Bond girl?
Oh, really?
Yeah, she played the like main love interest in The Spy Who Loved Me. Just a little fun fact.
Interesting.
But yeah, this one has, fun, kind of basic honky-tonk song structure. Yeah. So nothing too much to write home about here.
It was I thought it was quite a comical song.
A little bit. How about we get on to track number 11 or track number 10 here?
Yes, track 10.
Um, String Theory featuring Molly Tuttle and Larkin Poe again. Of course,
Yeah.
Dr. Starkey is going to be educating us on the on string theory. Finally, I get to hear his take on it.
Yeah. Um, I said he took a page from Bob Dylan's book of just making songs about a list, because that's all the
I'm not even
vocals
sure
are.
if it's. I'm not sure if it's a list. You're just saying everything strings.
Yeah, he's just listing things.
Yeah, the
A
vocals
lot of
on
this, a lot of that.
yeah the vocals on this one is not great. It has
Yeah.
this very simplistic chorus vocal line. Um, that really takes center stage here.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, it doesn't really have too much of Larkin Poe's kind of good guitar playing either in the background.
No, this it is very heavy vocal focus, which is to its detriment.
Yeah, I don't have too much else to say about this one either.
I do not. Jumping to track 11, then, if you're ready, Coop.
Yes, track 11, and the final track on the album, Thankful, featuring Alison Krauss. So a final kind of feature here.
Yeah.
And she's actually, I wasn't super familiar with her work, but she's a prolific bluegrass fiddler.
Hmm.
So she plays the fiddle. She actually has a pretty extensive background too. She played on the have you ever seen Oh Brother Where Art Thou? She was on that soundtrack.
Okay.
She's won 27 Grammys,
Jesus.
which actually makes her the fourth highest the fourth artist with the most number of Grammys. Uh behind Quincy Jones, conductor George Solti, and Beyonce.
That's insane.
So she's actually extremely proficient or prolific at fiddling. And she did Ringo a solid here on his last song.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I feel it wasn't enough to bring it back for me.
Yeah, I don't think she brought her A game on this one.
No,
Or maybe it was more just kind of a little bit of a jam sesh.
yeah, it definitely feels that way. It's something. It's a song. This sure is a song.
I'm not even sure if she plays fiddle on this one.
I do not think she does.
I think it's only vocals, which
Yeah.
I think is a huge wasted opportunity. But
Yes, I agree.
it's like having Ringo only do vocals instead of drumming. Wait a second. Um, but yeah, it's a fine ender, right? Um, and Allison's singing is good as well, but you know, definitely feels like a waste opportunity.
I agree. She's an okay singer. I would have preferred to hear her fiddle.
But yeah, that's the last track on the album.
That's all we got.
That's all we got.
So, Cooper, what would you say your least favorite track?
I didn't particularly care for "I Live for Your Love." Um, it's just like so mild and so much focus on Ringo's vocals. Really, like I said, a snooze fest. Um, but I probably disliked String Theory a bit more. That like just main chorus line melody was just annoying. Um, and I couldn't really get around it. So I don't know. What about you, Sam?
Yeah, that was my least favorite as well. That was just a complete snoozer, and it's just not good.
Well, then what's your favorite song on the album?
I would say my favorite song will be the one right after it, "Come Back." It's the most put together song on the album. It's got some fun things, and the auto tune's actually good. So,
I agree. I also really like Come Back, and I also want to give a shout out to Rosetta as well. I think Clark and Poe's playing on that song is very nice.
Yeah, yeah, it's quite a good song.
All right. Well, we've talked about the album, and we've given our favorite and least favorite. So now we got to rate it.
Oh, the guy's too big. Hold on. We haven't had to
Got
rate it
Scrapyard.
since. Uh, there we go. we got to make him smaller, sadly, but who do we want to start the year with?
Oh, well, I can start it off.
Go for it.
Is here on the Audio Shop podcast, of course, we have our own in-house rating system. I have to give you a little bit of a background here, Sam. We actually didn't come up with this rating system.
Did we not? I thought you came to me and said, Sam, I have the best idea for a rating system.
But I did, and I do, but I actually found it in a deep Peruvian jungle. Actually happened around some relics, some ruins, some might say, and this was actually carved in stone, in English, even despite being what looked appeared to be thousands of years old. I just read through it, showroom, like new, fixer-upper, used rental, scrapyard. A little bit at the bottom said, whoever uses this will forever be something, something, something. I didn't really read all of it. So I just took the beginning stuff and decided to use it for our rating system. So
hold on, that sounds quite crucial.
I didn't
picture
take
you could go back to about it?
No, I just took the first try and figured that'd be good.
Okay.
So at the tip top of the cream of the crop, we've got showroom, which is just, the best of the best. This is something you want to show to everyone and listen to every single day. And then all the way on the bottom, you got scrapyard. That's the get it away from me. Bottom of the barrel, just, trash that you never want to listen to again. And then we got like new, fixer upper, used rental. We'll give it a high or low in between, depending on how we're feeling that day. So with all that said, Sam, what would you rate Look Up by Ringo Starr?
I would rate Look Up by Ringo Starr a used rental. I probably won't ever listen to it again, and I probably won't recommend people listen to any of it. Maybe Come Back, then that's a low maybe. But it's not the best. It's not terrible, but it's not the best. Maybe a high used rental would be the best. What are you thinking, Coop? What are you rating it?
You know what? I'm going to give it the highest honor I possibly can to a Ringo Starr album, which is a low fixer-upper.
Wow.
Given his track record, I did not think it would breach into mediocre territory. But, it managed. It's certainly, again, I agree with you, it's not going to be an album I'm going to revisit anytime soon. But when I first heard 2025 Ringo Starr country album, I was bracing myself for the worst and was, pleasantly surprised on some of these cuts. Again, it's nothing spectacular. It's not going to blow your brain out. It's not going to change your world. But it's got some listenable songs on it. Its features, Ringo did his homework and brought in some talented musicians that I think really added to the songs where they were on. And again, it's not a spectacular album, but I think if you put this on the background, I wouldn't immediately call you out on it. Might raise an eyebrow.
I would.
But this is decent, listenable music, which frankly for Ringo is a triumph.
But he was a Beatle.
He was a Beatle.
He should know better.
But his solo album has never ever been great. So something that's fine and listenable. I'll give it a low fixer-upper, and give Sir Richard Starkley a bit of applause for coming through with something fine at 84 years old. Hey, I mean, when we're 84, Sam, I doubt we're going to be making anything decent. So, yeah, at least give him props there.
Well, everybody's got different opinions.
Oh, yeah, and that one's mine.
But that's all we got for this week in terms of Mr. Sir Ringo Starr. Rolling on over now to the spare tire, which is just whatever else we've been listening to this past week. And I'll start. I didn't listen to anything.
Nothing at all?
No, I was. Well, usually my normal listen time would be at work, but I've been away from my desk, so I've not been able to plug the headphones in. A lot of meetings, so not really been able to listen to anything. What about you, Coop? What have you been listening to?
I've actually been listening to quite a few new releases, which is surprising given 2025's just started. But there's been some interesting releases that came out. Mac Miller released a new album, Balloonerism. Of course, Mac Miller passed away back in 2018. So this is a post-mortem album.
Mm-hmm.
It's honestly quite good. I think whoever was taking care of his music years actually put some care to make sure that this release was respectful and had some good material on it. And I quite enjoyed it. Also listened to that hour and a half EP I was telling you about, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
That's the album Perverts by Ethel Cain, which was it's like a scary drone album. So if you're looking for some drone music that will frighten you, you can listen to that.
Okay.
And also just listen to that new Bad Bunny album as well. That was also a 2025 release.
Yeah, why is he like the biggest?
I mean, he's good Latin pop music. Honestly, I'm not typically into Latin pop, but I thought this was a pretty good album. Brought a lot of fun energy. Not typically our particular cup of tea, but we mixed up the genres, got some salsa, got some, like I said, good Latin pop in there. So obviously, it's absolutely doing the numbers. Like his albums go absolutely insane. For reference, this song came out January 5th, and like half the songs on this album have more than 100 million listens.
What the fuck? Is it that good?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's like amazing, but it was a pretty fun album, and I actually enjoyed listening to it. And obviously, if you're into it, you're really into it. Obviously, like I said, it's doing the numbers. So, yeah, some interesting albums that have coming out in the first few weeks of 2025. Makes me excited for the rest of the year.
Yeah. We'll have to check and see. It would be nice to do, unless you've got something in your back pocket for next week, Coop. It'd be nice to see what else is new. Maybe I haven't checked to see what what the big things coming out are, but maybe there's something to come in.
Oh my goodness, Ringo Starr's releasing another album next week. It's a techno pop album. Slowly conquer every single genre.
This isn't sorted by date. It starts with February 7th. Is it counting up? It's counting up. Flip it. Sort the other way. Whatever. We'll do this afterwards. Anyway, that's all we've got for you today. If you've liked what you've heard and you would like to hear some more, you can scroll down on the Twitch page and click the picture of Jeff Lynne. That's the guy with the aviators on. That'll take you to YouTube, where basically all of our past episodes are. And then if you're listening on YouTube and you would like to listen to us live and berate us in the chat for having bad opinions, you can go to the link in the description, and that'll take you to our Twitch page. And then we also tweet on Blue Sky. Or what did they still call it, tweeting on Blue Sky? Posting.
Don't you? Posting is probably the agnostic way for referring to it.
Fluttering.
Fluttering? Yeah, no, I don't think that really works.
Did you see my new flit?
No. And that definitely doesn't work. But no, yeah, you can follow us at Blue Sky, at Audio Shop Pod. That's POD. And we'll let you know what we're listening to and when we're listening to it.
Yeah. But that's all we've got. So thank you all for listening, and we will see you next time.
See you later, shoppies.
See ya.